Extra, extra, we're back with another entry. In today's topic, we just keep on keeping on with the series we call White Women, Impetus for Destruction. If you're barely tuning in just now, this series is comprised of instances, episodes, and parts where white women were more dangerous and destructive than their white male counterpart. Our job at Jaundice Journal is not to be racist, but to educate. So some of these white women you've heard of, some of these white women you're familiar with, but these other white women, not so much. And that's where we at Jaundice Journal step in. Once again, if you're new to this series, I implore you to start at part 1 and work your way all the way back up to this video, which is part 6. You'll see for yourself that we've covered different walks of life and people that were wicked in all of those walks. You'll be brought up to speed and you can know what's going on with the rest of us. For the fun of it, let's do a quick recap. In part 1, we introduced the world's most disgusting cook. Her name was Mary Mallon, also known as Typhoid Mary. She developed the moniker because she didn't wash her hands, and cooking for rich people, she spread typhoid fever to over 50 people and killed a couple of their kids. This lady was truly wicked. After the world's most disgusting cook, Mary Mallon, we introduced the affluent, sex-trafficking pedophile who went by the name of Ghislaine Maxwell. After Mary Mallon and Ghislaine Maxwell, we introduced the mother of birth control and contraceptives. She killed more African-American unborn babies than anyone, and she's still doing it today and adding to her body count. Her name was Margaret Sanger. After Mary Mallon, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Margaret Sanger, we went on to a compulsive liar who cost a 14-year-old African-American boy his life. Her name was Carolyn Bryant Dunham. The successor of Mary Mallon, Ghislaine Maxwell, Margaret Sanger, and Carolyn Bryant Dunham would be Sarah Page. She was responsible for having relations with an African-American shoe shiner and getting an African-American affluent community burned to the ground from the National Guard, from airplanes, and from a racist, riotous white mob. Our next weapon of wickedness is just as, if not more destructive than her white male counterpart in North America. Her name is Linda Fairstein. She's in the North American so-called justice system. She's in the business of trying to make a name for herself, controlling narratives, and forcing people to own up to crimes that they did not commit, and ultimately ruining their lives in the process. Women like Linda Fairstein fit the criteria for a series like this entitled White Women, Impetus for Destruction. Let's just say you ruin one person's life. What about that person's child, their companion or spouse? What about their mother, their father? What about their grandmother and grandfather? With this logic, imagine you ruin 5 people's lives. How many lives did you destroy in the process? We're going to see what Linda Fairstein did and how many lives she affected. Let's get into it. Old Linda Fairstein. Linda Fairstein is an American author, attorney, and former New York City prosecutor focusing on crimes of violence against women and children. She was the head of the sex crimes unit of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office from 1976 until 2002. During that time, she oversaw the prosecution of the Central Park 5 case, wherein 5 teenagers, 4 African American and 1 Hispanic, were wrongfully convicted for the 1989 rape and assault in Central Park of a white female jogger. All 5 convictions were vacated in 2002 after Matias Reyes, a convicted serial rapist and murderer, confessed to having been the sole perpetrator of the crime, and DNA testing showed he was the sole contributor of the DNA of the semen on the victim. After Reyes' confession in 2002, Fairstein still maintained that the wrongfully convicted teenage boys were guilty, and she lauded the police investigation as, quote, brilliant, end quote. In 2018, she insisted that the teenagers' confessions had not been coerced. After she left the DA's office in 2002, Fairstein began to publish mystery novels featuring Manhattan prosecutor Alexandra Cooper. Several have been bestsellers. In June 2019, after the release of the Netflix series When They See Us about the Central Park Five, Fairstein's publisher Dutton dropped her. Central Park Jogger Case, Investigation, Conviction, and Appeal. Fairstein's office supervised the prosecution in 1989 and 1990 of the Central Park Jogger case, which ended in the conviction of 5 teenagers whose convictions were later vacated. In a civil rights lawsuit filed in 2003, the 5 who were convicted claimed that Fairstein, with the assistance of the detectives at the 20th Precinct, coerced fake confessions from them, following up to 30 straight hours of interrogation and intimidation of both the youths and their supporting adults. When Assistant U.S. Attorney David Nocenti, a quote, big brother, end quote, mentor to Yusuf Salam, one of the defendants, appeared at the precinct while the defendant was being grilled, plaintiffs claimed Fairstein verbally abused him, demanded he leave immediately, and called her husband to demand the home phone number of Nocenti's boss, Brooklyn U.S. Attorney Andrew Maloney, so she could get the young attorney fired. Fairstein said, "Nobody under 16 was talked to until a parent or guardian arrived. 3 of the 5 went home and had a night's sleep before they were even taken into custody. For most of them, the substance of their admissions came out within about an hour of the time they came in. I think Reyes ran with that pack of kids. He stayed longer when the others moved on. He completed the assault. I don't think there is a question in the minds of anyone present during the interrogation process that these 5 men were participants, not only in the other attacks that night, but in the attack on the jogger. I watched more than 30 detectives, black, white, Hispanic guys who never met each other before, conduct a brilliant investigation." Lawyers for the 5 defendants contested almost every element of Fairstein's statement. All 5 accused teenagers later claimed their confessions were coerced during interrogation through lies and intimidation. In 1990, each of the so-called Central Park Five were convicted of various assault and sexual battery charges based in part on the allegedly false confessions obtained from them in 1989. Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Raymond Santana, and Corey Wise had signed written confessions, while Yusuf Salam made a verbal confession but refused to sign. Their convictions were upheld on appeal. Appellate Court Judge Vito Titone specifically named Fairstein in his dissenting opinion on the Salam appeal. He said in an interview, quote, "I was concerned about a criminal justice system that would tolerate the conduct of the prosecutor Linda Fairstein, who deliberately engineered the 15-year-old's confession. Fairstein wanted to make a name. She didn't care. She wasn't a human," end quote. And there you have it. Do you see how someone could throw your life away without an ounce of pity or an ounce of remorse? That's what type of monster Linda Fairstein is. Way down the line, after these guys' innocence were revealed, she had to rationalize that she made the right decision by saying that the actual guy that perpetrated the crime, Matthias Reyes, was affiliated with these guys. That wasn't the case either. She just had to be right. She was too proud to say, you know what, I made a mistake. I ruined these guys' lives. I even ruined the lives of their parents. She was too proud to do it. So she had to just stick her head up, hold her chest out, and just be a a-hole and try to make a square peg fit in a round hole. This lady is of the worst kind. These guys have to be looked at in society as sexual deviants when that wasn't the case. These guys had to go give away years of their lives in institutions and correction facilities, suffering physical abuse from other inmates for thinking that these guys hurt a woman and perpetrated a sexual act on a woman. You can do that and throw somebody's life away when you abuse your authority. That's what type of person Linda Fairstein is. That's what kind of thing she done. That's why she fits the criteria of an impetus for destruction. She's just as, if not more, destructive than her white male counterpart. And as I keep rolling out these episodes to the series White Women Impetus for Destruction, you're gonna see these people for the monsters that they are, and that they are sick, and that they see people through a racist, jaundiced lens in North America. I'll say it again. It's not our job over here at Jaundice Journal to display hate to the white male or his female counterpart. And this isn't a campaign to get you to do it. We just simply shed light and educate about an illness and a sickness that runs rampant here in North America. About people like Linda Fairstein that abuse their power. About people like Ghislaine Maxwell who are affluent and rich and prominent, but somehow resort to being sex trafficking pedophiles. This is crazy. Somebody has to talk about this. And over here at Jaundice Journal, I roll up my sleeves and I do the heavy lifting just so you won't have to. But at the same time, you can be edified. You can be educated. Only thing I ask you guys to do is spread the knowledge to others. But we've reached the part of the entry where it's time for us to part ways. If you like today's story, hit the like button. If you want others to learn, and I hope you do, hit the share button. I don't mind. Don't forget to leave me a comment because I value you guys' opinion. What do you think of Linda Fairstein? Is she abusive? Do you think she did the right thing with the so-called Central Park 5? What do you think? Leave me a comment. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, peace.